All right, we're here for my deck tech, and I'm going to be battling with a little bit of a spicy deck. It is a 4-color Elf Rhino Rally deck. Intrigued?
A little.
Okay, only a little.
Not much.
Not much, though, only a little.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and jump in and look at the deck. So this was a deck that Jerry Thompson provided for me, so kind of an interesting number here. If it goes well, you can blame me piloting it proficiently, and if everything goes terribly, you can all just blame Jerry for deck building.
That was my plan last week. When I
Yeah.
played old Drana Do Nothing in my 4-color deck that I couldn't cast it. So
Yeah, so, come back at the end of the video. We'll see if it's either my fault or Jerry's fault. But
Sure.
Anyway, this deck is definitely a work of art. It's looking to use Rally the Ancestors to bring back a bunch of creatures to basically just drain our opponent out of the game. So we have Siege Rhino and Clever Impersonator to copy Siege Rhino. That's one way to drain our opponent. The other way is Shaman of the Pack with a bunch of elves. That's another way to drain our opponent. And then Rally ties it all together. We get to do all of that at once. However, you actually can't copy something that you bring in with Rally using Clever Impersonators, so that's a little bit of a non-combo there. I don't know if that was known about
just blame Jerry. It's
before the video or not, but you actually can't, if you Rally for 4, you can't copy a Siege Rhino with a Clever Impersonator, unless your opponent is conveniently playing a Bring to Light deck, where they will likely have, 4 Siege Rhinos to play at any given time.
Oh,
so
yeah. It's coming. Moo.
So basically to tie things together, we have Jace and Gather the Pack. Jace lets us loot through our deck, which is going to help fill our graveyard up. And then Gather the Pack also lets us fill our graveyard up as well, which is going to help us, A, have creatures in our graveyard for Rally the Ancestors, and B, just find more Siege Rhinos to play. So the goal here is to just play as many Siege Rhinos as we feasibly can.
Sure.
And then to tie everything off, we have Nissa, which is conveniently an elf for Shaman of the Pack, but also a good Planeswalker. Elvish Visionary and Dwinin, which are going to provide some lasting value if you bring them enough of a Rally. And then Murderous Cut as well to help just as a removal spell. And one nice thing about Jace and Nissa is if you Rally the Ancestors and then you meet the condition on those cards, you get to keep them forever. So, we can Rally the Ancestors, maybe at the end of Todd's turn, untap with the Rally trigger on the stack to exile. We can maybe activate our Jace and flip it into a Planeswalker before it would be exiled. Or in the case of Nissa, we can maybe 6 lands in play, cast Rally the Ancestors, trigger Nissa, go find a forest, play it as our 7th land, turn it into a Planeswalker, then we don't lose the Nissa.
Yep.
So,
awesomely enough, too, what you can do with Nissa is if you Rally on your opponent's turn and you have a fetch land in play and you already have 7 lands, you can fetch a land, and that'll also trigger the Nissa. But you have to make sure you have the 7 lands in play first.
Yeah, and you can also use that to sometimes play around removal, too. Let's say you play a Nissa and you already have 7 lands in play, which is a fetch. You can search for a forest, play your forest to trigger the Nissa. If they go to kill it in response, crack your fetch, trigger it again.
And also take 2 your Conley Wood.
Yeah. Crack your fetch, get an untapped Blood Crypt, take 2, go down to 3 life, flip your Nissa, your opponent casts Siege Rhino, and you die.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the main deck for the Rally deck. Our mana base is basically the important battle lands, some fetches, and some basics. I think that this deck could benefit from a higher density of fetches and maybe slightly lower density of basics, but I like playing the absolute minimum number of battle lands, so as few of our lands come to play tapped as possible.
Agree.
But anyway, that's the main deck. Let's look at the sideboard. All right, we're back for the sideboard. We have the classic 4 Irration Cleric, which is going to help us out a lot against red-style decks, especially when we can rally it back into play.
But, Brian,
Yeah.
what about Knight of the Holy Order, or whatever that card is called?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's the one that gains 2 life for each copy that's in play.
Oh, Cleric of the... Yeah. But I'd rather have a 1/3 that doesn't get Wild Slash.
There we go.
Yeah.
That was what I was looking for. All right, got it.
And also gains an extra point of life, and still gains you life even if it dies with the trigger on the stack.
Yeah, the funny part is that if you bring back 2 into play, you gain 8, right, of the other guy. Knight of the I don't know what is it. Cleric of the Forward Order.
Yeah.
Thanks, Magic Origins naming concepts, guys. Anyway, yeah, you still gain 6 if you bring back 2 Ration Cleric versus 8 with the other guy, but like
It's probably enough. Like
Yeah.
gaining any amounts, like
But if you just cast them, like if you just cast the first one, you gain 2. If you cast the second one, you gain 4. That's just the same as 2 Ration Clerics, except I have these bodies that don't die to the removal spells and also block most of their guys and kill them and don't die.
yeah, you can block a lightning berserker or other things like that much easier with this guy. Some duresses and negates against more controlling decks. Valor stands for big old fat creatures, and then 3 Kiora, Master of the Depths.
That's so insensitive to big fat creature guys. It's not very nice.
I mean, that's just the stance I'm taking. So it is what
I'll
it is.
take the valorous road.
Okay.
I'll defend their honor.
I'll take the non-valorous stance and destroy target creature with toughness 3 or less.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll protect them.
All right, you got me. Can't win. But yeah, Kiora, we can do some cool things with this card. Actually, Kiora is pretty sweet because it does put cards into our graveyard, so it does fuel Rally the Ancestors, as well as finding us creatures, lands, things of that ilk. So
Yeah, but you do want to. I think it's probably better in the sideboard of this particular deck just because you don't have a ton of ways to actually protect it. Like a
Yeah.
lot of your guys are really small. I mean, I guess you can kind of brick wall them, but it doesn't get cast off Beast Caller Savant, which I don't like. And you could make the argument that maybe you should just be playing Rattleclaw Mystic instead, but then maybe your Siege Rhino is a little hard to cast naturally. So
yeah, I think Rattleclaw might be better, but I don't know. You're probably splitting hairs at that point. But anyway, this is the old Rally 4-color Elf Rhino deck. Hopefully, it isn't a complete bust and is actually pretty sweet. So
yeah, it looks cool.
let's get to the battles and see.